Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Green Tea, where we do deep dives into the climate sector. Dolly, I heard we have a very special guest today.
Yes, Ray, I'm super excited. I got to spend some time with my good friend, Christy Obiaya. Christy has an incredible background. She's got a bachelor's degree in chemical engineering from MIT. She has an MBA also from MIT. She spent over 10 years at Bechtel. She was CFO of their energy office. She's now CEO of Heliogen, which is an exciting climate tech company here in SoCal. And often we have founders that are looking for their first head of finance or their first CFO. They don't exactly know how to approach this search. And so I wanted to get perspective and advice from Christy to give us some guidance. So hopefully that could be helpful for founders that are starting to look for somebody in this role.
Awesome. Let's get to it.
Chrissy, thank you so much for agreeing to chat with me on this topic today. A lot of founders in my network are hiring a CFO for the first time ever. And most of the companies that I'm working with now are in climate or deep tech, doing a lot of hardware, industrial type build outs and work. And so I couldn't think of anybody better than you to help me kind of answer a few questions to hopefully help them navigate that challenge of hiring their first ever CFO. Is that okay?
Absolutely. Glad to be here, Dolly.
Okay, thanks so much. I appreciate it. So the first question I had for you is if you were hiring a CFO, given what you now know, now being CEO of a company working in climate, what are the things that you would be looking for?
Absolutely. I think climate, and particularly the deep tech or the hardware aspect of climate tech, I think it's important to have a candidate who has capital projects or manufacturing or some sort of experience with a business with physical aspects, meaning not just software or, financial services or that kind of thing. So I do think that the experience with a kind of hard physical tech type of company is really valuable because you just don't realize what you don't know having only the non hard tech side of things. I would also say that nobody has all of the characteristics or experience within themselves. And so I would say self-awareness of what the candidate's strengths and gaps are and what they would look for in their team. We should tell you a lot about, are they looking for people to double down on what they have, or they're looking to really diversify and fill out their gaps?
Okay, great. Let me double click on that. If you were interviewing a CFO and you had one question, let's say you were doing like an Elon style, I got 2 minutes to do this interview. What do you think maybe your one question would be for a CFO?
I'd probably ask them what they think this technology, whatever my company is, has in terms of the biggest challenge and potential ability to overcome that to be successful. Because I think it speaks a lot to, people need to understand the tech and understand the core of the business more than just being a CFO who runs numbers and, maybe comes up through an accounting background and maybe doesn't have a strong interest. You have to have an interest in tech. You don't have to be an engineer or a scientist, but having a strong interest in it will inform your viewpoint on what the biggest challenges are and therefore where you and your team should spend their time.
Okay, I love that. One of the things that I call out for founders as part of our search process is establishing 90-day goals and 12 goals and having people be able to, how are you going to approach this challenge?
Absolutely.
Do that, right? So I feel like that's really aligned with here's the challenge ahead of you. Here's the world that you're going to be operating in. Let me see how much intellectual curiosity you have. Let me see how much natural enthusiasm you have. So I think that's a really great gem. Thank you. One of the things I also wanted to double click on is, when I first reached out to you, you'd been at Bechtel for a long time, incredibly established blue chip career at a world leading company. One, it was very risky to jump into a startup. So what gave you the confidence and the willingness to do it? And then what were some of the big challenges as you navigated out of being at a very established, incredibly prestigious role into the chaos of what is startup life? And in your particular case, an extra dose of chaos. So talk me through what that was like for you.
Yeah, I think it was really even that first conversation that I had with you when I was looking at the move, it was enough for me that I thought this could be a once in a lifetime opportunity to be part of a game-changing technology that is addressing probably the toughest and most important challenge of our time for humankind, which is fighting climate change. And so that was, for me, although I had been at Bechtel for a long time and I was, feel fulfilled and enjoying the work, I just saw this as an opportunity that I shouldn't miss out on. And I have no regrets, haven't looked back since, have very fond memories of that time, but I'm still fully on this course. And then your second question was around how to navigate the change, I think. I had done some entrepreneurial things before my doctoral career, working in Kenya and India, on renewable energy initiatives, on a smaller scale. And so I had some exposure to that life. And the one thing that I knew would be, consistent across the board is you have to know that at a startup, you're going to be rolling up your sleeves. Being a CFO at a startup is a player coach position. You don't get to say, oh, I don't do spreadsheets. And I was fully ready to embrace that. So I think that's important to be aware of if you're going from kind of big company environment to small company. You take for granted at a big company that there are a lot of systems and processes and you kind of inherit that and work around it. But when you're starting with zero, you're starting with, maybe not even QuickBooks. It's definitely a player coach role.
Okay. And I think one of the things that I'd love for you to maybe share one more glimpse on is, how did you prepare for that before you left Bechtel? Did you talk to peers? What was your preparation process? Because it is a battle, right? Startups are a battle and you got to get up, suit up every day. And I think that's one of the most difficult things to endure long-term in a startup, ability to just go out there and kind of leave it all in the ring on a daily basis. And you're right. When you work at a large organization, there's so much scaffolding that sometimes you're not even aware of. It absolutely helps elevate and lift your success. And at the very least, if it doesn't do that, it keeps you out of the muck and the minutia.
Yes.
And there is no path around the muck and the minutia in the world of startups. Did you do anything, or did you just kind of jump in, trial by fire, and just have to figure it out day to day?
I did. I did prepare in the sense that trying to understand as much as possible about the technology and just reinforcing my excitement about it. Because, like you said, it is hard. There are days that are just really rough and wild, and it's a roller coaster. So you've got really great days and then really challenging days. And to be able to kind of allow it to bounce off of you, you have to be excited about the mission. You have to enjoy the people that you're working with and respect them. And those were all things that were really important to me. And so, I did a lot of diligence trying to get to know the people that I'd be working with, to the extent possible, because, you then have to go and join up and work with them. But then also, being really excited about the technology, learning as much as I could about it and about, what could I uniquely bring to the table that could add value.
Okay, I love that. The one theme I'm picking up through both your personal experience and kind of your advice for founders is real passion and excitement around the technology, the mission. So yes, you need somebody that has all the tactical skills, but if you don't kind of feel their energy when they're in the room with you, and being part of your driving force, then maybe you need to wait for somebody.
Yes.
To feel like that. Yeah.
Yes. Because it's easy for the challenges to overwhelm if you're not already excited about it.
Yes. Okay. Fair. And then any other advice that you might have for founders that we haven't already talked about?
The old adage, cash is king, whereas I like to say cash is queen. That holds true, especially in the startup world, if not anywhere else. So that's one thing. And then probably the one other thing, you already talked about the 90 or 120-day plan, which is definitely high on my list. Totally agree with that. The one other thing is the emphasis on diversity, because I think whenever you are trying to solve big problems and do hard things, there's plenty of data showing that, top performing companies have diverse teams, and that's diversity in all of its forms, inclusive of professional backgrounds and experiences. And those are the kinds of things that, allow you to bring greater solutions than were otherwise possible. And so, yeah, I've definitely valued that and looked for that as I've been hiring.
I love that. And thank you for mentioning it. We could probably spend an hour talking about that, because at this particular time in history, the pendulum seems to have swung really far in the wrong direction on this particular issue. So maybe I can get you and some other smart friends together and we'll talk about that at some particular point. But thank you so much. I think this is incredibly insightful advice. I appreciate you for just letting us into your own personal journey. And I'm so excited for the future ahead for you and to cheer you on. So thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Dolly. Great talking with you.